Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with George for a bit of an impromptu live match preview. We did say, George, early on in the day, if we could get on, we would. And yeah, you haven't let us down. You haven't let the side down, mate. After Bruges, we were together in Bruges, but we're joining each other tonight. How you feeling, mate?
Hello, Rich. Yeah, hello, everyone. Yeah, mate. I'm all right. I'm a bit, yeah. We're getting older now, Rich, aren't we? And it takes its toll a little bit more now. So I'm a little bit subdued, mate. But we've had a great time over in Bruges. Met some
We
great
did.
people. Yeah, drunk lots of lovely German beer and just had a right good
Belgium.
sorry, yeah, Belgian beer and just had a good jolly up, mate. And yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yes, yes, yes. If you can all, we've got the comments flying in. Good evening to you all. If you can all hit the like button on your way in. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us at such short notice. And please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. We're getting closer to 5,000 subscribers. I really want to hit that before Christmas. If you can really do help us spread the word of the channel, it really does help us grow the likes and the comments and obviously your subscriptions too. We're going to talk, obviously, Liverpool after what's been a bit of a difficult couple of weeks, really. I was thinking before, George, about, the last victory we had. Well, we had a good week, beating Fulham, beating Bologna. And then since that Bournemouth equaliser in the last minute, it's kind of just unravelled a little bit. Now, I was speaking to Errol from Redmen TV. If you check that out on the opposition preview in the away end, I was speaking to him, and you can probably rationalise the results in a sense of, look, Carabao Cup, the manager will say other priorities, made a lot of changes. Then you talk Tottenham game away from home at Tottenham. They're a good side, strong side. We played well in the first half, kind of capitulated in the second half. And then you can say, well, we lost to Bruges, poor performance, but 3 wins out of 3 to start in the Champions League. So, it's a defeat, but it's not the end of the world. But it's more, I guess, the performances and kind of what's not, what Villa haven't been doing as opposed to, and how different that is to kind of the normal Aston Villa and Unai Emery. That's probably just a little bit more concerning for Villa fans at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just a bit of a malaise setting, hasn't it? Like out of nowhere, really. As you say, things weren't going too badly, were they? We had a really good win at Fulham, which was a top-notch performance, I thought. Back that up with arguably maybe slightly better performance against Bologna, and we're riding high. Things are looking amazing. But yeah, I don't know, something about that Bournemouth one. We just sort of went to sleep, didn't we, for the last quarter of an hour? And it's like we haven't woken up like 2, 3 weeks later, and yeah, we're just looking a bit flat, and it's very odd because we've come out of the back of a massive injury crisis, and now we have all our players back fit, and it almost feels like it's a bit of a hindrance because obviously Unai's trying things and trying to make a few changes and freshen things up and give the opposition stuff to think about. But I don't know whether that's just confused things because I don't know, everyone just looks a bit off it, don't they? We're looking so little of an attacking threat at the moment, and everything seems to have slowed down a tad. And yeah, I don't really know what to say at the minute. It's just I'm sure we're going to pick it back up, but yeah, at the minute we're just looking a bit rubbish, aren't we?
Yeah, and that's what we kept talking about, didn't we? When we were away, having conversations with a lot of Villa fans and between ourselves, and saying it's strange that now he's got all these players back fit. He doesn't quite know what his strongest side is, and is that a transition from going to being a club that has to play that strongest 11 or 11 out of 13 strong players all the time, to now balancing up, giving players different minutes here and there, and kind of having those expectations that a player will just come in and be able to slot into what is expected of them, which is what a big club does. Is it that transition into going into that, or do we kind of have to go back to, right, this is our strongest team and you have to try and fight your way into it? It's just a weird little section at the moment.
Yeah, that's a great point. That is pretty much on the money, to be fair, Rich. But obviously last year that kept us in good whatever this that was how we did things, wasn't it? We kept a steady team for most of the season. But then obviously come February, March, we were out on our feet, weren't we? And
Yeah.
it was a bit of a struggle towards the end. But at the moment, you're trying to get we've got Champions League to deal with now, which is a big step up from the Conference League, and obviously nothing before that. So, I mean, this is what we all wanted. We wanted to see like
I know.
rotation, didn't we? And a bit
Yeah.
of squad depth. So I don't know. Maybe we've just got to be patient for a little while and let the Kamaras get back up to speed. Mings to get back up to speed. Obviously that's a big blow what happened to him in the week, but he's a big character and he'll bounce back.
Mm.
When Diaz come back into the reckoning, he looks well off the pace at the minute. But I think, we're just going to have to, we haven't had many bad spells in the last couple of years. So I think we're just going to have to swallow it and just wait until we pick things up.
Yeah, it is one of those, but the pressure mounts, doesn't it? And the pressure keeps coming up. And I don't know if it was you that was saying it or I don't know where I heard it, but obviously Ross Barkley being out, it's a little bit of a bad time for him to go out, because you kind of feel like he would have been an option to bring on just to calm the game down a bit more. I know you've mentioned about that element that Douglas Luiz maybe brought into the side of that control on the ball, and you kind of feel that maybe Ross Barkley might have been an important part of that, maybe against a Tottenham or against a Bruges in midweek. And it's a shame that he's not available at the minute.
Yeah, true enough, mate. That is definitely the case. He's come on, sort of second halves of games this season, and in good performances in games we've won. He turned the game for us against Everton, didn't he? I think also Wolves, he came on and made a big impact. And we're just kind of missing that. We have these games where all of a sudden Tielemans the last couple of games after an amazing start to the season, he started like losing the ball a lot more, isn't he? You expect like Anana's not amazing on the ball. He's got other qualities, but I just think it is important in your midfield to just have someone that a proper technician that keeps things ticking. And at the minute we are missing Barkley, and it's only a couple of weeks in it. This one, not anything bad.
He should be back after international break. Yeah, he should be. John mentions there, one clean sheet in the Premier League against a poor Man United team. Is anyone backing us for a goalless draw? But that's got to be a slight issue as well. You can't keep going to the well and being 1 or 2-0 down and then having to come back, having to rely on John Duran to come on and win games. He's not going to be able to do that all the time, or Ollie Watkins to score from one of maybe 2 chances at best that he's going to get, or Morgan Rogers to run it past 3 or 4 players and put it in the net. Like, we've got to start being a bit more ruthless at the back to stop, to maybe not put as much pressure on what's happening going forwards or what they need to do going forwards.
Yeah, we've been conceding sort of too many goals for a long while now, and you can't, like you say, you're not going to win every game 3-4-2, are you, or whatever? You've got to try and build from the back and try and get a few clean sheets and start from there. But at the moment, it just don't seem to be clicking, and Liverpool away is not really the fixture you want, is it?
No.
When you're trying to get out of a bad run, I'd say hopefully just get through this one, damage limitation, and try and regroup again for the international break.
I've got a feeling the score predictions aren't going to be as positive as they were maybe a few weeks ago, but we'll get there in a bit.
Well, do you remember, Rich, you gave me some stick, Rich, didn't you? Do you remember we
did.
done this group of games, and we all said how many points?
Yeah, I know.
I somehow did predict a bit of a bad run, and that has happened.
It has. Si says, teams like Liverpool, we have to flood the midfield and actually go with Nedeljkovic at right back. The normal other 3 at the back and go 4-2-3-1 with Onana and Buba screening the back 4. Kevin said apparently Emery's never lost 4 games in a row in his entire career. Interesting. Well, I think there's no tougher place to go at the minute than Anfield to try and turn that around. So we'll have to wait and see, because he could well be seeing that new record broken. PJJ said, I've only seen any sharpness from anyone but Kamara and Maatsen. The rest just seem too casual and a bit sloppy to me. Collins said, conceding goals too many times in the second half for most of this year. Yeah, Maatsen wasn't bad Wednesday, but we missed Digne. I actually didn't think Maatsen was that good at all. I didn't think he did anything that we've brought him in the team to do. I didn't think he did anything. He didn't get to the byline once. He didn't cut the ball back once. So I don't know whether that was an instruction from the manager or what. But yeah, it was a poor. I thought it was just a poor performance for me. KM Gart said we need to have a crack when we get in the attacking third. Instead, we go back to Emmy. Yeah, it just seems like it's a bit more. We seem to be not taking the chances at the moment. And again, I mentioned this on my match reaction. I didn't necessarily do like a match reaction of the game because there wasn't that much to talk about, to be honest with you. But I more talked about like what is going wrong, and there is an element of when you do make quite a few changes. There is sometimes an element of players not necessarily knowing or trusting that they're going to get the ball when they make a certain run because they're not used to playing with that particular player or that particular midfield combination or defensive combination or, right back and right winger combination. So it does feel it's a little bit disjointed at the moment.
Yeah, 100% that though. It does. I agree, Rich. But like, I don't know how do you fix that? The only way you do it is by keep playing the same 11, and then they get burnt out. So it's like they're training all week, aren't they? So just get on the same page, lads.
Well, that's it. It's almost like just put your big boy pants on and just get sorted because, we're a big team now. We've got a big squad. You're going to play enough games. You know how you should be playing. Emery should be drilling it into you. You should have that drilled into you all the time. Make those runs. If you don't get the ball, fine, but keep making those runs. You've got an individual job to do and just do it. Like, it doesn't seem like it should be that complicated, but yeah, so it should just be something as simple as just do what you've been asked to do. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I
mean, like, I know they talk about Emery's like sort of preparation and how detailed it is and all the videos and all that. You just hope that, I mean, it's like we're only three games into a bad run, but you just hope they've not started believing their own hype and stopped listening so much to the preparation. Maybe just thinking you don't need to work so hard to get something. But at the minute, it's proving that they do, and start listening to Emery again because we're kind of unrecognisable at the moment. We've had one shot on target at Spurs, one shot on target in Bruges. That's not the team that we've been seeing the last couple of years.
Exactly. So on to Saturday night's game, 8:00 kickoff at Anfield, which is even more daunting. I would imagine. Liverpool, they're a hell of a team at the moment, aren't they, mate?
Yeah. So it's a bit of a nightmare fixture for us. Anfield under the lights. The big atmosphere, top of the league. I mean, what they have? I think they have 14 wins in 16 games or something. I mean, they barely ever lose at Anfield anyway. I mean, I know Forest won there early in the year, but I'd take a little guess about in the last 3 years they probably lost no more than about 4 at home. I would say, even if it's that many. That's what you're dealing with when you play Liverpool. I mean, the new manager's come in for them. Started really well, to be fair. It's a good job for him to get because I think Klopp did a lot of his rebuild for him, and he was very smart this summer. In the summer just gone, not to go signing every Tom, Dick, and Harry because over the last couple of years, Klopp's kind of done it for him, hasn't he? He's replaced, the Hendersons and the Milners, the sort of Matips and people like that. He's freshened it all up. I mean, you see young Gravenberch now, Curtis Jones playing out of his skin. And I mean, in the front line, Jesus Christ. What you're looking at, Nunez, Gapco, Salah. I'm missing a couple there, aren't I?
Well, Jota's injured at the moment.
Yeah.
Diaz.
So Luis Diaz, looks a new player from what they had last year. If them lot are scoring probably, 12, 13 goals apiece there. So Liverpool are going to be right up there. And I would say that attacking 6 or whatever they've got is probably the strongest in the league.
Yeah, it's a frightening prospect, and we haven't done well against Liverpool. And I know we got the 3-3 draw at home last season, and we hark back to that 7-2. But at Anfield, last year they gave us a spanking. We got a 1-1 draw the season before, which was a great result. But they were kind of finishing off that season. We were on a high, but generally, they've had pretty comfortable victories against us in that. And that physicality that they seem to have, that athleticism always seems to get one over on us, very often at Anfield.
Their style of play is just not very suitable against an Emery side, is it? I mean, that beaten at Anfield last year, I haven't seen a team just swarm. They swarmed us, and they just kept this energy level from minute 1 to minute 90. And we just couldn't ever get out. Anytime we tried to get out, they were just intercepting, just too strong, too physical, too fast. And we got a good hammering that day. But fair play though. We in the game at Villa Park, there was a lot on the line for us, wasn't there? If we hadn't have got that point, we could have missed out on the Champions League. And we really rescued something late on. But even in that game, for large parts, Liverpool spanked us, didn't they? But we just come back late, and we wanted it a bit more. But yeah, this is a tough game. It's not an absolute certainty we're going to go and get bashed up, but just this little malaise that's set in. Sort of, you're going to make Liverpool hot favourites, aren't you? But if we turn up, we can beat anyone on our day.
That's the thing, but I just hope we don't go with the containment idea, and I kind of get the feeling that that's what we'll do. I just feel like that just asks to get beat. I never like it when teams do that. Yes, you might get out of it with a point, or you might get out of it with a 1-0 victory, but most of the time, you end up taking a surprise lead, and then it just means the team that you're playing against just gets more and more angry and just comes at you even more. And then it's so difficult to change that mentality from containing the side and then having to switch up to being attacking when that other team have just come back and now they've got the momentum, they've got the tails up. It's so difficult to regain that momentum. It's far easier to go at a team and attack a team and then get 1 or 2 goals up and then, shut the game off. It's just so much more difficult to do it the other way around.
Well, it's funny, like at times last season, we managed to get that balance really, really right. We're thinking of like Arsenal away, where we kind of shut them down for the first half, stayed in the game, ended up winning it. Same at Spurs last year and the year before. Same for the last 2 years at Chelsea.
Yeah, no. The Arsenal game, didn't we score in something like the 75th or 76th minute or something like that? Yeah, so you're giving the team no time, but Tottenham last week, yes, we could say professional performance, 1-0 up at half time, but as soon as you then think, right, okay, you've wrestled, that could go out and win the game, but we stayed in that containment mode and just invited them onto us, and then they go 2-1 up, and that's it. It's impossible to switch. It's impossible to go, right, okay, now we're going to stop defending, we're going to go attacking. No team. I don't remember any team that ends up doing that, unless it's some sort of lucky goal, someone scoring from 30, 35 yards. I mean, even against Ipswich when we were 2-1 up, we went into containment mode, and then to get back to 2-2, and you can't change it. We're lucky we didn't lose the game.
In that one, weren't we?
Yeah. So it's just so difficult.
You just wonder, Rich. You just wonder whether, like, when we get 1-0 up, do we quite know what we should do? It seems like we're getting caught in no man's land. Do we try and go for another one, or do we just try and stop them scoring?
I just think you have to back yourself. If we think our players are as good as we think they are, and fourth in the table, then we have to go for these games. And I'm a die on the sword type of, I'll just go for it. You're better off losing 2 or 3-0 than limping to a 3-1 defeat after taking the lead. Like, it's just even more demoralizing, if you like. So, and yeah, let those teams worry about us, because we have got good players. And if you don't, if you don't, we've seen it at the moment. If you don't use Leon Bailey when he makes a run down the right hand side, if you don't use Ollie Watkins when he peels off the defender and tries to run into the channel, if you don't give it to Morgan Rogers when he's dropped into a bit of space and he can receive it on the half turn, then they're just going to stop doing it. So you have to, attackers will just stop making those runs if you don't feed them the ball. So we've got to start giving them the ball in those areas and letting them attack, because we just seem to have lost that bit of mojo. We seem to have lost that bit of attacking thrust that we used to have.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, normal. You know what Villa fans are like. Normally, we'll always pin it on someone, won't we? There'll be a scapegoat. But at the minute, I think we're all struggling to find one. It's just they've all just kind of stopped, haven't they?
Yeah.
Where's the goals coming from? I mean, Duran's obviously done his bit from the bench this year, which has been fantastic. Watkins is probably just about on par with what he normally does. But where's Leon Bailey? Where's the goals from Jacob Ramsey? obviously we've lost Douglas Luiz, lost Diaby. There's so many goals from last season that are not there now, and and the likes of Rodgers and the attacking sort of players we've got, they're going to have to start stepping up and getting a few, because I can't see how we're going to match the tally of last year or even get anywhere near it at this rate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do need to go into some comments because we've had loads coming in. PJJ said, I'm wondering if there isn't some complacency or arrogance creeping in.
Is what I was saying, mate, a minute ago, isn't it?
Yeah. Deco said, I worry that Ollie seems to fold as soon as there's decent competition for his place. He did it with Ings, and then when Ings was sold, it was like he sprang into life. Kevin said, I think we need to get back to a higher line. If they go long ball, so be it. We didn't do too bad last year. Don't know why Emery's changed it. I want to get obviously we'll get Gareth back on very soon to do the talking tactics. But when I spoke to him, I think it was after the Bologna game. He was still saying we are generally keeping quite a high line. So it'll be interesting to see if that has changed over the last 2 or 3 games.
It doesn't feel like we're catching them offside hardly at all now. God, last year, any time a goal went in, we were all like, that's not going to count.
I know, but that could be more to do with the other team changing their tactics or making their runs from deeper. I don't know if it's anything.
You mean?
Yeah. So, third man runs, the midfielder makes the run in behind rather than the striker, or they use a decoy run. That could be happening. So I do know that we're trying to pass the ball out from the back, and it seems like we're deeper, and then we give the ball away, and that means that the team's straight onto us more.
Yeah.
And then if Emi Martinez is forced to go long, we haven't necessarily got the player up top to, if Ollie flicks it on, he's generally flicking it onto himself, or if he's holding it up, it's more of a fight ball, and we're not close enough to win the second. So maybe we just need to get 10 yards further up the pitch to, if we do lose the ball, maybe there is the option to battle in that midfield to win it back higher up the pitch rather than letting the team come straight at us. It's a difficult one. It just doesn't seem. It may be the case that the line has got deeper, but I don't know if that's something I'd like to see if he has seen that in the data. Be interesting. TW said they're going to absolutely clap our cheeks tomorrow night, and I wouldn't be shocked to see them score 5 or 6. We saw what they did to a normally resolute Leverkusen team in midweek in about 25 to 30 minutes. Sharek's back in the chat. Long time, lads. Let's be honest. We've been dodgy all season long by 1 or 2 games. The spanking at Spurs has been coming, and now Liverpool to come. Unfortunately, the players are slightly above average Premier League players, not top 4, will be lucky to get a Europa League spot this season. Very, very interesting. Sai said, if we're keeping them out, how long before Salah wins a pen? Yeah, well, they've got so many attacking options. We've already talked about it. Can we agree that it was the Bayern game that deflated us? Maybe the emphasis on that game was almost like a major task complete, and we've been deflated ever since. Possibly, but like you said, probably our best performance of the season was against Bologna. So, yeah, maybe. Need to increase the pace of the passing, says Bear in the Garden. That's what 100%. I really want to see. Really want to see that. Sai said we need proper width. Ramsey isn't a winger, and neither is Rodgers. Good to have you in the chat, Jason. PJ said, could Unai go with Kamara and Onana in the pivot and move Tielemans forward, maybe instead of McGinn? Kevin said containment is not going to work, not against the better teams. Look how the Turks hammered Spurs the other night. We should have pressed them. Same with Liverpool. Press and see how they cope. Unai's making too many changes, said Jason. Sai said, can Onana play more than 45 minutes? He was superb at Spurs, then dropped off a cliff second half. So, yeah, I mean, I'll come to some more comments, but one of the ones I did want to touch on there was going into kind of maybe who he might feature in the team tomorrow. But, that form of John McGinn's been a little bit patchy. So could there be an option to go with Kamara and Amadou Onana in that midfield too and push Tielemans further forward? I know Tielemans is maybe nursing a bit of an injury at the moment, which might be a reason why he's maybe dropped off the boil a tiny bit. He's not in the Belgium squad due to needing rest after this game. So, yeah, is there a potential for Kamara and Onana to play, and maybe even Tielemans not playing whatsoever? But John McGinn has been a little bit concerned in these last couple of games.
Yeah, mate, they could do this. I think we actually did have this chat while we were away. Yeah, from a physical point of view and a dominating point of view, I think it'd be amazing watching them two together. But there's the slight worry that if Tielemans is a bit further forward, Onana and Kamara are not the best technical players, like with the ball, and the passing can be a
Mm.
bit loose. And I just wonder whether Tielemans might kind of get lost in no man's land and not receive the ball from them. But I guess you've got to give these things a try. Yeah, McGinn. I'm not quite sure what's going on with him at the minute. It just looks like it's all starting to catch up with him a little bit. He's starting to look like a 30-year-old. He's starting to look like the level's getting a little bit above him. I've not given up on him by any means. I've always loved John McGinn. I'm back into the hilt, but it just feels at the minute that if he's not sticking his arse out and shielding the ball and making a bit of space, if players are swarming him it's what's happening, like Liverpool will do tomorrow, he's becoming less and less effective for us.
Yeah, yeah. It's like players just see him do that move where he's going to stick his ass out, and they just take a little step backwards, and then someone just comes round the other side and takes the ball off him. Like it keeps happening, and then or he does it, falls over, and then the ref goes, "No, that's not a free kick," and you've kind of lost that player then because he's on the floor. So yeah, it seems like he's needs to. We've got too many players, I feel, at the moment that are needing to play themselves into form and fitness, and we can't afford to carry all those players. Like you're looking at Kamara, McGinn, Bailey, Matson when he plays. You know, Carlos as well is in and out. There's so many players that we're bringing into a side, and yes, it looks great on paper. We've got all these players that we can bring in, but it's no good having 5 players out of a starting team of 11 that need to play themselves into some form or fitness. You can maybe have 2 of them, but it's really difficult. And maybe we'll see the benefit of this towards the end of the season because we're
Yeah.
only, like you said, 10, 11 games into this season. But at this moment in time, it does feel like we're suffering a bit. But like I said, hopefully that means that towards the back end of the season, we see more positivity because, we haven't had players that have played 40, 50 games, but we've had more players that have played 30 games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at Man City. They're a prime example of this. I mean, they're funny enough. We're having our little rot at the same time. They're having their little rocky period as well. But we all see how Man City finish the league every year. Look at last year for them. Foden won all the awards, Player of the Year, absolutely smashed it. This year, he's barely getting a look in. This is what Pep does.
Mm.
He gives players he just gives them a couple of months break sometimes, saying, right, I'm not going to go with you at the moment. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to go with someone else, and then turn of Christmas, you're back in, and you can be my man again. I know not all of us have got the luxury of having the squad that they've got to do things like that, but it works for them. And as you say, we really, ran out of gas last year, so maybe we're looking down the same sort of avenue and thinking, we'll our extra depth will come into play when they're all sharper. But it's just, it's not just now, is it? They're not quite ready for it.
Exactly. And I guess, to frame it as a positive, it's been one game in the Premier League that we've lost out of this last 3. The Carabao Cup, okay, whatever. We were disappointed as fans, Villa fans, that we didn't go further in a cup competition that we, would have had potentially a good chance of winning. But ultimately, it's not the end of the world. And then a Champions League game, as I said at the start, you can rationalise it and say, well, okay, we beat Bayern Munich, we beat Bologna, and we beat Young Boys. You're going to get a poor performance at some point to lose a game. So it's like one Premier League game, and if you can, by hook or by crook, pick up a result against Liverpool, whether that be a point or whether that be, a win, would be unbelievable. But it would be, still would it's still it's not anything like, a crisis point, is it? We've only lost 2 games in the Premier League all season.
No, of course it ain't a crisis. Jesus Christ, we'd have to get some perspective. We know
Yeah.
what crises are. I remember when we lost our 10th game on the spin. As we went down as we finished bottom of the Premier League with like 17 points. You've seen Dean Smith, Steven Gerrard, 6-7 on the bounce, and they've ended up getting the bullet for that. I think I come on the other week, didn't I, and sort of said, "Are we in danger? We've been a bit spoiled these last couple of years." And are we getting a bit above our station? You know, I saw a lot of the Spurs fans on Twitter after last week, and they were sort of saying, you know, Villa, you've come down here, giving it the large, you know, and we've given you a good hide in, and you know, you need to get back in your box, that sort of thing. You know, I'm not saying that's right, but maybe every now and again, fans do need a bit of grounding, don't they? Because you know, we've had a magical couple of years, and we've kind of looked like the fourth best team, haven't we? But you know, this other teams have been in disarray in these times, and now other teams are starting to show themselves again. You know, the competition is there. I've said all season that whole top half is competitive. You know, and we're not just going to sit fourth and above all year. You know, it's not going to be that easy. You know, there's going to be spells where it's going well, spells where it's not, and at the moment, that's where we are.
Yeah, exactly. Jason said, I'm now going to give them the kiss of death tomorrow, but I think they may sneak something. Kevin said, McGinn can't seem to run like he used to, just tries to win fouls. Sai says, don't you find it ridiculous that week 11 we're about to have a third international break? Yes, but ironically, I feel like it's coming at the right time for Aston Villa at the moment. Colin said, I understand PSR issues, but I didn't think we strengthened the squad in the summer, possibly not getting the targets we're looking for. Could possibly be that.
That's all by design, mate. That's what it's there to do, is to stop teams like Aston Villa.
Yes, exactly. Jason said, I hear Dougie is available in January. Maybe. Kevin said, it's not the end of the world if we lose at Liverpool. Most teams do. It's how we regroup after the break. Palace at home and revenge is a great motivation. Absolutely. Guys, please smash that like button and hit that subscribe button. We are well on our way to 5,000 subscribers. Almost at 4,800 actually. So please do help us by liking and subscribing and help spread the word of the channel. If you want to become a member as well for just $1.99 a month, please click the join button. And if you want to place any super chats to help support the channel, click the $sign, and all your support is massively, massively appreciated. Let's look at what Fatma was saying is the predicted lineup. I've had a look myself. It does look pretty accurate. And also Tottenham's is pretty scary as well. But Liverpool, is pretty scary as well. But they're going Martinez in gold. There's put Concert at right back, Carlos Torres and Luka Dean back in. McGinn, Onana, Tielemans and Ramsey with Rodgers and Watkins up front. And then obviously Liverpool, no Alisson in goal, but Kelleher, Alexander-Arnold, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Diaz, Salah and Nunes. It's a pretty daunting task against Liverpool, but what do you feel that is with Villa's lineup there? Would you agree with that? Would you make any changes to that?
At the moment, you know, I'm finding it really, really hard to decide what our best team is, what I think our best team is, what our best team is for certain games. We've got a sort of a good squad, all kind of around the similar level, you know, haven't they? And you're thinking, well, what do we do at the minute? And who's playing well at the moment for us? Who's coming off the bench and making a difference and making a claim? You know, obviously you've got John Duran, what he's done this season, but Watkins is still, as I said earlier, still sort of hitting his quota of goals. But I mean, you know, looking at that team, it looks all right. But on paper, it looks all right. The other night in Bruges, didn't it? And they didn't turn up at all. So yeah, I'm not sure, mate. I'll have to bail out on that one, Rich. What do you think we're going to do?
I don't think that'll be far off. Maybe Bailey, but then will he go for more bodies in midfield? I think Kamara, but then he started on Wednesday, so that's
yeah. I was thinking that.
Yeah.
But they're subbing, they're subbing Onana quite a lot, aren't they? Like at half time.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll do half of Onana.
I think it will be this. I just hope that, for me, I hope he doesn't go with bringing Duran on for a midfielder. I hope he keeps with, brings Kamara on in that midfield and then brings on Duran later on in the game and brings Maatsen on
last week.
Yeah, and just because that's pace. That's pace. I really like that. Or Bailey off the bench with pace, but not going 4-4-2, and then we don't get them the ball. That's bringing Philogene and Bailey on with just two in midfield as we had, which didn't get them the ball. There's no point in playing that formation because you can't get them the ball. We haven't got two dominators in midfield that will win it and then just give it out wide. Duran even though he's a big lad, he's okay at holding the ball up, but he's not brilliant at it. He's not brilliant at bringing players into the game, like some of the old style centre forwards used to do. So yeah, it's for me, it's keeping that structure, that formation that we've got, but just moving the ball faster. Like I think it was Bear in the Garden mentioned before, just move the ball faster into those positions, play those threatening passes through midfield quicker, break the lines quicker, get the overlaps of the fullbacks and play them the ball when they make the run, and just play it that little bit quicker, rather than going back on ourselves and then having to rebuild again and passing it all the way back to the goalkeeper, and then the goalkeeper just ends up playing a long ball up top, and when we lose it, that's like Villa from 3 or 4 years ago, not Villa now. We should be a completely different team. So that's what I hope that we do.
Yeah, I can't really add much to that, mate. You just need to pull our socks up and start moving. It's all too slow and laboured, and I don't know. Does it look a bit lazy? Like we're a bit tired? It's just as I said, it's just like a malaise, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't say they're tired. Yeah, they can't say that.
Shouldn't be.
No. One other point. Konsa is clearly better at centre back, and for me, is still a centre back playing at right back. I can't get away from that fact. So, would you sacrifice more like physicality at right back and play Nedeljkovic, who I think in the Premier League has suffered from that, kind of lack of strength that he's got in the upper body? But the fact that you'd have a right back at right back and Konsa at centre back, or would you go with Konsa playing at right back and maybe a Diego Carlos who is pretty erratic and not. I just worry about Carlos against a team like Liverpool with the movement that they've got. That's my only concern.
Yeah, this defence this season, that's the biggest thing we've done wrong. I know like PSR issues, we run out of money. I personally not sure we needed. I said this to you the other day, Rich. I don't think we needed to spend the money on Maatsen. Maatsen's going to be a good player, but that's not what we needed. We had Digne, we had Moreno, who's now smashing it at Forest. And I always thought he was a good player. It's the right side. It was obvious. Cash is at a certain level. He's kind of the weak link in the side when he's fit, and he's getting more and more injuries as he's getting older. It was obvious that was what we needed was a right back, and we're paying the price now because we're trying to play this every now and again. Konsa will go to right back and it will look really good, and we think, this is all right. We've smashed it now. Next game, it doesn't look good. Diego Carlos plays against Ipswich, plays like a clown. You think he's no good. Then all of a sudden he plays.
Bayern Munich.
He played Bayern Munich. Was outstanding.
Munich,
yeah. And you're like, these players. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But there's not enough consistency to make you feel safe in the knowledge that that's what put them in and it's going to work. I just think we're unbalanced. Obviously, Konsa said at the start of the season he doesn't want to play right back anymore, and Unai told him he would be playing centre back. So I can imagine he's not very happy with how the season's panning out in a minute, because it's just he's moving around all the time, isn't he? Whether it's half time, whether it's at the start, Konsa's always the one being shifted, and you want the relationship in the two centre backs, didn't you? That's the steady part of the team that you always want to keep. But at the moment it's needs must, I guess. But I don't really know if we play Nedeljkovic, he's going to get targeted, isn't he? Exactly the same as young Bogard did at the start of the season. It's glaringly obvious that that's our weak link down that side. And then until January, teams are going to try and exploit that, aren't they?
Yeah, I just feel like too many times when Konsa has played right back, he's susceptible to that long diagonal ball. It seems to go over his head every time. He's just not quite in the right position, and that's understandable because, like you said, he's having to switch from right centre back brain to right back brain, and it's difficult. It's difficult to do. So, yeah, it's interesting to see what might happen. PJJ said we could all do with some of Kev's positivity. Sai said, by the way, Rich, next home game, anybody went to Bruges, take your match ticket to the Seal Hill Brewery. Looks like you might get a free beer. There you go. There you go, people. Head to the Seal Hill Brewery with your Bruges match ticket, and you get possibly a free pint for your troubles for enduring that match. PJ just said Mings instead of Carlos, just tie his hands behind his back. Kev said Bailey on form would be a bonus. He's got to turn it around at some point. Why not at Anfield? I just feel like sometimes away games, he's starved of the ball. That's the problem. And I think at least in home games, he can get more of a run at a fullback, because any winger, they're going to take the fullback on maybe five times in at home. He might do it five times in the first 20 minutes, and it might come off for him twice. He might get tackled three times, but in an away game, he's probably going to get three opportunities at best to take the fullback on. And if they don't work, then it's like, oh, he's had a rubbish performance straight away. So it's a really difficult one for wingers, because they don't get the ball enough in those away games, particularly someone like Leon Bailey. So we'll have to wait and see. Kevin said Conte, Carlos, Torres and Dini was the back four when we beat Bayern, so they can perform. They can definitely perform, but it's just asking for that consistency with that type of, with players that, with a player like Carlos, who is prone to a mistake, and a player like Konsa, who's having to switch from one position to the other constantly. Sai says Leon actually looked sharper in Belgium first off, but we failed to use him properly. Might switch him to left wing help, possibly, but it's not necessarily the way that Unai likes to play. Jason said we need a new specialist right back and bring Konsa back in the middle, and then buy a decent centre back who can start or cover. Yes, I think we were all saying that in the pre-season, but we shall wait and see if anything does change. I do want to go to sort of the stats and stuff before we round up with our predictions. But first of all, talking of Leon Bailey, the latest prize with our show sponsors, Football Prizes, is a signed and framed Leon Bailey shirt. It's just been launched, this competition, so you've got plenty of time to purchase your ticket, just under 2 weeks for the competition. The closing date is Thursday, the 21st of November. Instant prizes as well to be won, including tickets, I believe, to the Aston Villa versus Brentford game. Jacob Ramsey signed and custom frame shirt. Main prize, as I said, is that Leon Bailey signed and custom framed Villa shirt. $3.95 for your ticket. So just visit footballprizes.co.uk to purchase your ticket. Like I say, just under 2 weeks to go. Competition ends Thursday, the 21st of November. And footballprizes.co.uk and search for the Aston Villa competition. So let's take a look at the stats for this meeting between Liverpool and Aston Villa, because the reading of it doesn't look great, I must say, George. 58 games played in the Premier League. Villa have won 6 times at Anfield. Liverpool have won 17 times at Anfield, and there's been 12 draws. So, a fair few draws in these meetings. Of late, 3-3 last season, as we said, 3-0 to Liverpool at Anfield. So our last trip there towards the beginning of last season. The season before, we had a 1-1 draw at Anfield and a 3-1 defeat on Boxing Day. And then before that, in 2022, a 2-1 defeat for Villa. So not great against Liverpool. And it's never easy at the best of times, mate, looking at this form. But looking at our recent form, 3 draws, 1 defeat, 1 victory in the Premier League. So that's 6 points from the last 5 games. Liverpool with 13 points from the last 5 games. I mean, it's pretty daunting task.
Yeah, tough game. Yeah, it's just a tough old game, mate. I mean, I was pretty sure anyway, but I did double check. Our last win at Anfield's going back a decade now, and strangely enough, we had some good wins at Anfield with some really rubbish teams. Paul Lambert seemed to enjoy going there. I remember,
Benteke scored a great goal.
Yeah, we'd done them 3-1 that day. Absolutely brilliant. Benteke and Vyman, wasn't it? Just literally turned it on that day. And we went there again and won with big Philip Senderos. Anyone remember him? With a towering header. We're beating Liverpool away with teams like that. And, at the minute, we can't get near them. But, yeah, it's not just us, mate. As I said earlier, they are so good at home. I think their home record's underrated, to be honest. Very rarely get beat. But so we all know the task, what we've got Saturday. So let's just wait and see what happens.
I mean, if you were to plot a route to victory, what would you say we would need to do, other than the obvious of score more goals than the opposition? But what would how could you see us beating them, like finding a way to win?
It's tough. I mean, as I said earlier, with the atmosphere at Anfield, when that gets up, I mean, everyone says it's a myth, the Anfield atmosphere, but I've been there a few times, and when it's going well for them, they are loud. You know, you've got to try and frustrate, haven't you? You know, if you can get ahead, then do all the dirty stuff that we always try and do anyway. But these days, it's getting harder and harder to do that because the ref just adds it all on at the end anyway, and you just end up getting
Mm.
punished later on, even if you do stem the tide for a long period. But yeah, we've just got to try and win our battles. You know, don't get swallowed up by Liverpool's Liverpool's pace, you know, and intensity in the game like we did last year. Just stand up and be counted, be strong, be physical, you know, and try and take your chances. But yeah, if you're looking, I can't think of like
Are there
I
any
can't see the
weaknesses in Liverpool? Have you seen any real weaknesses in them? I mean, I can't say I've watched them too much, but they just seem like they've just seamlessly started with Arne Slot. And I mentioned this to Errol. What's impressed me about how he's operated is he just seems so calm. Like they've gone behind in a couple of games and they've won. They've they obviously lost to Forest and they just reacted by, you know, going on a great run after that. They got a draw at, at the Emirates when they were 2-1 down and just calmly stayed in the game. Like it just doesn't seem they just don't seem to have too many weaknesses. So I don't know. Is it yeah, I think Kevin's mentioned there. Trent, you know, is it trying to get in behind him? Have they got, you know, up is there centre backs? Is there, you know, Watkins has generally done pretty well against Van Dijk? Is there an issue like could we get at them there? Like they just don't seem to have too many weaknesses at the moment. Allison's obviously out of goal. Kelleher though seems like he
good
comes in
keeper
and
he
just
is.
yeah. So it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, you just hope that maybe they do have a bit of an off day and we can take advantage. But you know, Van Dijk last couple of years, it's kind of he'd started dropping off a little bit, I thought, but this season again, he looks back to his imperious best again. You know, he's getting all the accolades. Alexander Arnold, you know, quality player as well. Used to be like all you can get at Alexander Arnold, but he's to me he seems like he's getting better as he's getting older, and it's tough, mate. There's at the minute their tails are up and they're banging form, so you know, I don't know what I'm looking for really. It's just we've got hope that we can turn up and they don't. Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah. Kevin said Watkins loves a goal against Liverpool. He said he likes playing against Van Dijk. Semi-final against Holland, a great example. Colin said Watkins, Duran, overdue Premier League goals. You never know. So I said if Forest can, dot, dot, dot. Believe it
They
or
got
not,
quick wingers, haven't they? And they just went at
yes.
them with pace. We don't seem like we're playing like that anymore.
No. Believe it or not, Trent Alexander-Arnold is a defensive weakness. PJJ said again, like us, their right side is defensively weaker. So I hope they play the Greek lad at left back. He's another weak link in his opinion. PJJ said we need to win the midfield battles, beat the press, win second balls, and make our passes count. It's as easy as that. So before we finish up, score prediction, mate. What are you saying? And get your score predictions in the chat. Hit the like button as well if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't subscribed already. I mean, what are you doing first of all? But yeah, help us on the road to 5K. Get your score predictions in the chat as well. See if we can be positive. I'm not. I have to say at the moment I'm not feeling too positive. But George, what are you saying for tomorrow night's game?
Well, to be honest, it's hard to make a case for us in a minute, isn't it? You know, we've just discussed it for 40 odd minutes. There ain't a lot of positives, you know. We know we're a good side still, and we can still do it on our day. But as I just think this is the wrong game at the wrong time. And I just think they're going to have too much for us, mate. You know, when we're conceding goals at the minute, we're not reacting well to it either. And I just think if Liverpool get a goal, a bit like Tottenham did the other day, and once the crowd get up and all that, I think it will just swallow us up. And I just hope I think we'll go for 2-0 to Liverpool. Just so we don't. I just don't want to get smashed because confidence is going to
Mm.
be low at the minute. And Salah loves playing Villa, doesn't he? So I'm going to go for 2 from Salah.
Hmm. Well, He's in my FPL team, so
I can't
that'd
afford
be
him, Rich. How'd you get him
small
in?
mercies.
Too much.
Haven't got Haaland. I've gone without Haaland. He's done me all
Okay.
right so far. Got
Yeah.
Saka and Salah in there to compensate. 3-2 Villa, says Colin, and 2-1 Villa, says Jason. As I say, kiss of death. So two Villa victories there. AVFC says 3-0 to them, I think, but Hart says smash and grab 1-0. PJJ said I predict a riot. That's when we play Leeds, isn't it? I'm going to say 2-1 to Liverpool. I can't see us getting the victory. I think it'll be a tight game. Like you said, I don't want to see us get thrashed because that will not be good for confidence. And I don't think I could bear hearing the pundits for 2 weeks constantly going on about how Villa's bubble has burst. But yeah, 2-1 defeat. I think we'll push them all the way. It'll be a heartening performance and something that we can take into the Palace game after the break and then get back to winning ways. But I don't.
Because it's another game after a Champions League game, isn't it? And they haven't gone overly well. This is obviously another game after a Champions League week.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it could be the reverse, though, because we've won those Champions League games and then gone into the next game and not played as well. Whereas this time round, we've lost the Champions League game and hopefully we can turn it around. I mean, it would be, I know we said it's typical Villa, all this sort of stuff, but nobody expected us to beat City. Nobody expected us to beat Arsenal at the Emirates, and we did. So, it is within us to get it tactically right. And after a poor performance, like a game against Bruges or something like that, you want a game straight away and you want to put things right. And there's almost an opportunity there to, stick it up at people that have been criticising or whatever. So you never know. But I've got to say 2-1 to Liverpool. I think that's what it'll be, unfortunately, for us. Kevin said Durant off the bench 2-2. I would take that 100%.
Yeah, snatch that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. KM Gart says 1-0. Consa header from a corner. Brilliant stuff. Michael said 2-1 Villa. Always positive, Michael. Cloudy with a chance of UFO says 3-0 to the Scousers. Can't see anything else. PJJ says score draw. That's the most positivity I can summon. So a mixed bag. And Jason, thank you, mate. Great channel, guys. Thank you for your support, mate. Thank you very much. And yeah, great to get loads of support as well, and chat and comments about the channel when we were away in Bruges as well, mate. So always good to know that people watch us and enjoy what we do. But yeah, we will obviously enjoy the game as best as we can. It's going to be a good atmosphere anyway. It's strange when playing at 8:00 on a Saturday night. Not the best for Villa fans and traveling at that time. And I don't know what the situation is like with trains and stuff on a Saturday night, but at least people might be able to make a weekend of it, and it'll be an even better weekend if we can get that score, get that victory, and put us back on track in the Premier League and back on track, with our mood going into the international break. It'll be absolutely fantastic. George, thank you for jumping on. Much appreciated, mate.
Welcome, mate.
Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Hopefully, we get the positive score. I'll be back with my instant reaction tomorrow night. We'll also obviously do the Lions Raw match reaction show, possibly Sunday night as well. Hopefully, Talking Tactics will be back very soon. I've also got the Academy Roundup next week with Academy AVFC. So loads and loads of shows to come. So make sure you stick with the channel and keep your eye out for all the episodes coming up. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button on your way out. Help us on the road to 5K. Thank you all for watching. And as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.